Welcome to the What She Taught Me podcast.
Unfiltered conversation between a mom who's lived it
And a daughter who's still figuring it out.
My name is Latoya.
And my name is Lanoya. And welcome to another episode, guys. We're so happy that you've joined us. So, you know that one thing your parents, your mother has said to you, like one piece of advice or just a statement in general, and it seemed pretty crazy, but then it worked. Or like this, that one thing they always used to tell you, and you're just like, please, just stop talking. And then you lived it, or you went through it, or it happened, and you're just like, oh,
mother knows best.
Okay, so I know we've all gone for that. So today's episode, we're gonna talk about oh gosh,
this one bit of advice that you would have received from your mom, your parent.
Yes, mom was right. She was right. So we're just gonna talk about that. So let's jump right into the conversation, guys. Oh my gosh, to this day I think about this. That one piece of advice or one thing my mom always told me, or one thing she always did that I was just like, Mommy, you overdoing it. And then it just hit me like a truck. And I was like, oh my gosh.
I bet you I didn't know what.
You know what, but I'm gonna say it.
Let me guess.
Okay, guess.
Vetting your friends?
Okay. Well, not necessarily vetting my friends, just friendships in general. Because some of them were already friends. Yes, but like friendships, you know that one friend your mother was like, yeah, I'm not sure about them. Or you know that friend who did something and they observed and just like, yeah, that doesn't seem right to me. And you're just like, no. And you make up all excuses in the book as to why your parents or your mother are just overreacting. And then boom, it happens. Let me tell you, that happened. And wow, to this day, I feel like I'm traumatized by that friendship. and from that day onward, I was just like, yeah, if mommy says she don't think they're right in the head, I'm gonna listen, because there's just something that maturity and the life they've lived that they're just able to spot that. So, but I can't talk about that.
I think it's a blessing from God.
Mommy's gonna talk about how she knew. How did you know that those friends or those friendships were just not it?
I think I was blessed with this ability.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember pastor friend, may he continue to rest in peace, would say to me, Toya, you're a goddess, which is kind of like a cultural, what you would see for a cultural, not necessarily a witch, but someone who can tell the future, someone who kind of
like a fortune teller, maybe.
Yes, like a fortune teller, because I just have this gift that I see certain things and I would have conversations and I would say this about this, and I'm able to read individuals very well. And my friends, they tell me so, that there are certain things that I see, and I have this one friend and she's always saying, girl, I just do not like to admit it when you're always right, because you're always right, but I'm always doubting it. But I'm glad, that she still leaves space, for life to happen and not depend solely on my word, because I am not a fortune teller. But I have that premonition to see things by reading people, the pattern, the body language, the eyes, the way they carry themselves. I observe.
Yeah, you're very observant.
I observe them, and it doesn't take me long, I'm sure you would have seen that. I would have one visit by one person or two person, and I'll tell you, this person will do this and this and that and this, and then you'll be like, come on. I mean, like you mentioned, this is too much. Like,
yeah, sometimes it's a little too much.
Yeah, you've been a defensive mode,
like give the person a chance. Yeah,
and then you would see that it comes to pass. Remember, this one friend that I told you, she will do this and she will do that, and this is the type of person, and she will not go back.
And she did.
And she did. So it's a gift that God has given me, and I think most parents would have that gift, because it's part of what God would have given us to see over our children, especially when you have that connection with your children, see them grow and you learn them. God gives you that gift, but I think mine is a special one because it's not just about you. It's just about people.
Something you just do
in general. So it's called having that discernment about things
from God.
Yes, yeah. So I believe I have it, and your friends would come, and I mean I would not say they are bad people.
Yeah,
but people go through different learning eras in their life, or seasons,
stages,
in their lives, and stages also. I prefer the word stages because it's in terms of growth. So they would go through that growth, but I would not come in directly, but that particular one I think you're talking about, this would have been in your early.
Yeah.
So I saw the pattern, I saw the behavior, I saw the environment, the community around the individual, and I saw certain behaviors, and this individual was always bubbly and always, with us, but I saw beyond this. I saw what she struggled with. And I told you certain things like, beware. I'm not saying that you should not be friends with this person, but I would see like you would come to me and say, well, this happened. I think that's the way. I don't think I ever stayed there and tell you beware. I think you would come to me with certain scenarios of what happened, and you planned this and you wanted this to happen, and this happened as a result. You do not want to say too much to put people in certain positions. So this is where we're just leaving.
I think it's just typical mother and daughter asking for advice, and mommy, I'm struggling with this at school. What do you think about it? We're not necessarily telling people's business. Yeah.
So I would respond and I would say, I think this person is out to get you. I do not think this individual's intentions are pure. So you have to be careful with this. Even when it came to like your friendship with other individuals, and I saw how this individual would have popped up, and how the individual would have targeted some of your friendships that you had, understanding that you were in a vulnerable situation. I should say, you lost your dad, you grew up not having much family around you. You grew up not having much of a community around you. So your friends, school, and church
was everything.
Was everything to you. And the thing is, like, the enemy is wise. You of course you develop friendship from school, but you didn't have much friends at church. This one, you feel that. Imagine failing in church.
That's insane.
There was not the support that you needed as you were not an orphan, but you were fatherless. There was not much support. But kudos and thank you to those who have stepped up, this particular
and supported
person
me,
who would have stood up for you, and as a father figure, where he did not have much, but he would message and he would say,
I appreciate you.
No, you don't have, I know. And we were in the same industry and business, but he came to me and he didn't say to himself, oh, she has this and she has that and she has this going out. Let's just pause a bit on there, because I think we need to put it in there. It's because it's important. Because hopefully he can see this episode and he can feel our appreciation for him and his family. The fact that he never judged us, saying that, oh, your mom has this, she has that, she's driving this brand new vehicle, she has this business, that business, her life must be fine, she probably had gotten some big chunk of
he saw beyond
money. He never thought that way. And if you would want to compare it based on the external, what people see, he could have said, no, you all are doing better than me. But he did not. he came and he stood up for you.
Yeah.
And he just message and he's like, I really want to help you and your daughter, which I believe is my daughter too. I want to get her a pair of school shoes.
Yes.
What is her size and what would she like? And I really appreciate it because despite what appeared out there, like what we had, there was a lot of struggle with it. But you know, God is seeing us through and he continues to see us through. And again, this is why we're here in this ministry, in this space, because of what we have overcome, you know. So he stood up in the church and in the community and he was there for you and he made things easier for you, because knowing that you had him on your side, because he fell in the same community that this friend would have been in. So knowing you had him on your side, it made things easier for you, you know. Just sticking a plug in there for this particular individual.
So okay, yes, and I really appreciate them for real. But yes, based on what you're saying, and we're kind of recapping. So what you're saying is the way you were able to see or see beyond just the surface or give me that advice is because you were able to look at patterns. You're able to look at habits. And you also mentioned, which I really appreciate, is our closeness. So sometimes with certain parents, you know, certain parents are not as involved in their child's life, so they might not really even know who's influencing or what's going on. But because we had a close relationship, you know, I was able to share some things that were on my heart. You know, I was a child trying to figure out, you know,
very inquisitive.
Yeah, trying to figure out,
adventurous.
I was trying to figure out like life, you know, not like life, because you know,
trying to find your place.
Yeah, you know, I was trying to understand and figure out who I was,
despite what was going on.
Yes,
you know, forgetting, and something else. You're trying to push the fact that you lost your dad and trying to still having, you know, one of our messages would have had, you know, the soft girl and strong woman.
Yes.
So you're trying to have that strong woman, or may I say strong girl, you know, moments. And the reason why I spoke about these gentlemen is the fact that I was lending to the point that you were kind of in a vulnerable place as fatherless, where most persons around you, they came from a 2-parent household. They had grandparents around them. They had aunts around them, uncles around them, and they had a huge support. But you mostly had your mom, your grandparents lived abroad. Most or all your closest aunts or uncles would have been
abroad as well.
And mostly what you would have had here, it would have been grand aunts, you know, extended, apart from a few cousins.
Or your first cousins.
A few cousins who kind of treated you like their niece, you know, and their daughter.
Which I appreciate.
Yes. But your circle was pretty small. And then it is a point where you can say it is not quantity, it's quality. And it's being true to yourself. I mean, I think these conversations will be staple in all our episodes. Being true to yourself, being vulnerable, and being transparent into accepting that, hey, this is my season at this point yet, but I'm going to persevere. I'm going to push through. So you were in a vulnerable state. And I saw the behavior of people around you, friends around you, although they were your age group. So, you know, I kind of pass over this because they're your age group and you all are still trying to figure things out. But even if you're trying to figure things out at a certain age, you should realize that, hey, I have more than my friend. Let me give some support. Even if it's not in all areas, but in certain areas. So when I saw that behavioral pattern around you, I saw it was, you know, there was something on there.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that as children, when most of us were younger and children, teenagers, preteens and stuff, figuring out life, we were vulnerable. You know, I grew up without a dad majority of my life. Some people had 2-parent households, but they were probably an only child. Some people, you know, didn't have that support. Some people didn't have that community and shelter. So it was easy to be like taken advantage it was easy to take advantage of them, and they were vulnerable. So
because you want that connection,
mhm,
so you're ready to do anything. You're ready to not even remain true to yourself, just to have that
mhm,
connection, have that community, and hold on to it.
and it's also like you don't even have to only be vulnerable. It's just like with your relationship with your parents will always have that soft spot for you, have that extra covering, ever extra over protective spirit over you. So that's gonna push them anyway to always watch out for you, to always
Mm-hmm.
say, watch that crowd, be careful who you hang with, watch what you're eating, go to bed, get off that dang phone, all these advice we thought was like, oh my goodness, you're talking too much. It's this constant, but it was just from a place of wanting to protect us, concern, and also just being a part of our lives and noticing certain things. And then we go back to that whole thing where, with the strong woman, soft woman, the strong woman, soft girl, growing up, some of you, especially growing up like in the Caribbean, did not even have that. So there were a lot of mistakes that were made, a lot of things that you guys went through. And then like you said in the previous episode, check that episode out, guys, that your generation made an intentional decision to shield us from those things. And that's again where it comes from, these households giving us this wild advice and telling us to watch out for this and not do this. And as young people growing up, we're just like,
you don't know
yeah,
why.
you don't understand, because I mean,
You
it's
do
our
not
first
know
time
why.
living. It's your first time living too, but you have more experience,
Yeah.
and you're trying to really protect us. And I mean, in the moment, it's just like we're being honest. In the moment, we're just like, why they keep telling us?
It's
We
like
know,
I'm
we know.
preventing you from actually living your life.
Yes, which some parents can't do too. They hold on too tight that they don't even allow us to touch the water. And then when we become adults, we're just dropped in the deep end, But I think it's also important to, be
Yes.
protective, but give some time to at least make us swim in the shallow part. Because when it's time to hit us into adulthood, ain't nobody coming to save us.
Test the waters.
Yes.
To an extent, not enough for you to drown.
Yes. Because we do have community will help us float, but there are times where we'll have to do it on our own, and we would need that support. So yeah, so we talked about you.
How I realized that.
Yes, how you realize that
Something was
certain
amiss.
people, yes, were not meant to be. And let's also make it clear that even if I have my personal feelings about some of the friendships I have passed through, not necessarily they're bad people. They just might not be the people for you.
Yeah, and it's also I'm very intentional, and something that you did not you did well, you didn't have a choice when you were younger, but now maybe you feel like, okay, enough. Well, not now, but when you became a teenager, you felt like this was enough. And that's the teachable moments that I make every moment for you. Every time something happens, I come with a speech with you. And you're like,
here we go again. Like, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. No, guys, I don't think you understand. Like she said, she really doesn't let anything slide. And it's not like if I do something, it's like this aggressive form of discipline and stuff. It's just that everything is a lesson. And sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's good to, learn from things. And sometimes I'm just like, Mommy, all I did was
ask you.
No, all I did was show you a meme on Instagram, and you want to say, oh yeah, it's funny now, but in real life, when that happens, you have to, I know you guys can relate. When you show that little thing to your parents, just show them a little something, or you were like, oh mommy, hear this joke about this person or whatever,
relax.
And then they're like, and I'm like, I'm literally telling her, Mommy, this happened, and I told them that, and she's like, but you're wrong. And then it becomes this whole thing when I'm like, first of all, you're my mother, you're supposed to be on my side, and second of all, I didn't ask for all this. I was just informing you and stuff. But I also think it's important that I also think that there should be a balance, not every time we want to hear the speeches.
Now I'm easing up, but in you growing up, this these are the moments that made us bond. These are the moments that you learned a lot.
And this is also why we're
are the
also
moments that you can stand today and speak that way and be the young lady that you are and the woman that you're becoming.
yes,
Because I took every moment, and it was not just about you. I used my experiences. I used the experiences of others. I used life to bring out the points to you. To not just make it be about the knowledge that you can acquire, but the wisdom that I've gained from those moments to bring it to life to you, so you can speak on it. So when you sit here and you can make those points, it did not happen by chance. So this is why, I'm going to take this moment to speak to an adult, a parent out there, an aunt, a guardian. The enemy takes no moment for granted, and I learned that as a child. He takes nothing for granted. So I was deliberate, and I like to include intentional in everything that I did when it came to raising you. I took no moment for granted, and I was told that I am too principled. I was told it was too much, but was it overwhelming for you growing up?
Yes.
And she said that.
But we just talked about how sometimes it could be too much.
Yes, sometimes you did not like.
But it's not. I think we used the wrong term.
That's why I asked, was it overwhelming?
Yes.
Was it overwhelming?
Okay, it was not like suffocating, as in like I couldn't live. There are a lot of times I asked my mom to like go on field trips and stuff and do certain things, and she would say yes. It's not like I was suffocated or so shielded that I never got to experience things. It was just as a child, you just want to always hear the talking. But like she said, and that brings us into our next point, what is the fruit of all these advice? What is it actually doing for us? In the moment, it's just like, my gosh, like yap.
Real life hits you.
And then real life hits you, and then you're just like, but I remember that yapping session, and that yapping session saved me from so many things. It has protected me, and it has kept me on a path that I think is the path I want to be on. So, speaking to the children, and by children, I don't mean like babies. I'm talking about once you're just a child of a parent, whether you're a young adult, a teenager, an adult, in those moments, it's just like, yeah, all that talking and stuff, but they're really just setting us up to be prepared for life. They're setting us up to succeed. They're setting us up to thrive, to be prepared for what's coming our way. Because let's be honest, we can't wait until we're 25 for us to hear about these lectures. We can't wait until we're 30, husband, you married and you have kids, and now your parents want to tell you how to do something, how to wash the dishes, how to be emotionally available. It's now.
Have practice emotional intelligence. So as a young child, I will teach you how to take a deep breath before you actually respond.
I'm still learning that one.
Yeah, we all. So as a young child, I would be teaching you, and when you come and you were like, "Mommy, I felt like eating this or doing this," and I'm like, "No, you have no control to what someone would do to you, but you have control how you
respond."
Exactly. So I would teach you how you could manage this, or I would probably tell you how I would have managed it, or how someone else managed it and it did not work out to them. So I would not always give you the good of it, or how I would not make you see that I had it all together. I would tell you about the moments, and most of them were moments that I did not have it together, and how it affected me as a result. So here is this. If you responded, if you know you need better decisions with your friends, what you eat with your time, how it will you will just reap better fruits, bigger fruits, more fruit.
And it also can't hurt. That's one thing I've learned too. Like one of the things that my mom always used to tell me that I'm still learning today. She always tells me, do it now and you will rest later. And I struggle with that. I'm the type of person. Like, I'm not a morning person. I'm not a day person. But
wake up early person.
I'm not the type of person. I was never the type of person to wake up like at 7 a.m. and do chores and then rest the afternoon. I'm
Your
more of the
mom did it.
yes. I'm the type of person,
and that's why I failed.
Who would wake up late in the morning and then do it later, or relax and then do it and then relax. And so it's something I'm learning and stuff. And I think it's also important to know that depends on your age and what you've been through, you find yourself switching to these things. And that's when you actually understand the importance of what was being said. Because there are a lot of things my mom always told me growing up that I never saw the importance of, or I was just not even really listening to.
Such as the friend.
Yes, until I was in present situations, and it was always recurring. Like it was just always happening. I was meeting new people. I was encountering
situations. As like active duty.
Lol. But yeah, it was happening more often, and I had to realize.
Lol with no smile. So sarcastic.
Yeah. Okay, not too much now. But yeah, so I'm just saying that right now, if you listen to this and you're probably like 14, 15, 17, you're probably still in your mind like, yeah, but they're still talking too much and stuff. Some of these things won't ever hit until you reach a certain season of your life.
Yes. So you back to.
So yes, what's another thing you would have told me? I'm trying to remember. I mean, I've heard everything from A to Z.
The would have been about choosing the right
friends, yes,
and opening your eyes. Not trying to find it. And in summary, it is being true to yourself, seeing your value and your worth, where you learn that you do not have to live your life pleasing people.
Okay.
So when you find yourself that every action, every moment in your life is to please someone, you find you find that you've lost your identity, or probably you never had it. Because of certain things again. And I know it had to do with you losing your dad. So you lost your dad and you did not want to lose your friends. So you would close your eyes
at anything they would do.
Yes,
I would accept anything.
Yes, accept just shame for you to belong. You're ready to please everyone just to be accepted. Just to hold on to that friendship, to that relationship, because you there is this unconscious blame that you put on yourself, and that worth that you needed, because it would have been tied to the fact that you lost something which was very dear to you. And maybe that maybe you lost this, and maybe it was your fault to an extent, and you're beating up on yourself, and you're not about to lose anything else. You're not about to lose those friendships, because
so that's another point there. And another thing our parents might see in us is trauma, and seeing how our lives have affected us and our choices. And when you have experienced trauma, there are just certain habits that you just can't shake off, that you don't even know that are present. So you need that outside view, that person who's looking on the outside, to show you, okay,
I
see the pattern, and I think you need to check that out. And that's not always going to be like a therapist you have to pay hundreds of dollars for. People in your life, because a therapist will only know what they see. What you tell them, that's what it is. The therapist will only see what you tell them. But our parents, our siblings, our family around us, they see the things that we have been blinded to by our trauma, and they're able to tell us, maybe that guy isn't for you. Maybe that job isn't for you. Maybe you should spend less time on the phone, because I'm seeing how it's contributing to your mental health.
Again, the point you made there is very important, and I would want to bring it home a bit. It is I think the patterns can be seen when someone has seen it in their own life. When this person is real to see, like, I went through this. When this person has been has acknowledged what they went through. Because if you have not acknowledged it, you have not accepted it, then you're blinded to that behavior from someone else. So if me as your mom, I have never accepted, for instance, say you have a parent who is an alcoholic, maybe a drug addict also, and maybe they found themselves in that space because they were sexually abused, never accepted it, never acknowledged it, but using the drugs to cover it. This parent is not able to help you because they have not accepted or acknowledged it in their life. So this parent is passing on that trauma to you.
Yeah.
So you find children who grow up in those households, they are more damaged. But when you, as someone who has experienced sexual abuse and is now on drugs, that doesn't mean that you've gotten off the drugs or the addiction or whatever it may be, whatever it could be, sexual addiction, whatever it may be. But if you recognize that you went through it and you're still in the place where you're trying to get out of it, it is much easier for you to see that behavior in your child and try to help them not go through it or experience it, even if you're a drunkard, even if you're an alcoholic or
recovering and stuff.
Yes, you're in there, but you may have all those and conflict, all those anger and rage and fights with your child, even if you go about it the wrong way, but you do not want your child to go through what you're experiencing. But if you do not acknowledge and realize that you went through it, it's hard for you to be able to it's not that you don't see it, it's hard for you to acknowledge it in someone else enough for them to want them to change.
I like that point, because you're saying to the parents who are listening that you need to go through a process of healing or get to the place where you have noticed some of your habits, so that now that you've seen your habits, you're able to point them out in your kids, because we are your children. You know, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. We hear that saying and stuff, because we tend to inherit of our parents, the habits of our parents, the things we see. So if our parents are not even seeing that these things are wrong, how can they also save us from repeating those same things, you know? So I like that point, because it puts the whole my mom was right or my parents were right, or that whole advice giving thing, in not only the perspective of the child who's receiving it, but of the parent who's giving it. And to be able to be that type of parent that you're saying, that there needs to be some sort of
acknowledgement,
progress,
acceptance, and this is part of your journey.
I love
healing,
that.
Because your journey to healing is not a one day; it's continuous. It's every day being what's the word? Not approach, but facing those different moments in life and learning how to respond to what's happening to you. And every day your response is more intentional. You're practicing that emotional intelligence, and you're on your road to healing. Yes, you will fall, but you will get back up, because it's part of your journey. But if you do not acknowledge, then you cannot acknowledge and accept, then you cannot be on your road to your journey to healing. You know,
and then you won't be able to extend that healing to your children. No. Okay,
you can only pass on the anger. You can only pass on the trauma. You can only pass on the blame that you have not accepted. You know, you can only pass the unforgiven spirit that sometimes comes out with that quick reaction, which is oh my goodness, it's a reflex to a reflex.
Yes, because it's in you,
to what you're going through, that unhealed spirit, that buried trauma that's inside of you, you pass on. So our children they are a result of the trauma that we've experienced as a parent. And if we want our children to, if we want those generational cycle to be cut, to discontinue, we have to be intentional, and in you being vulnerable, in me being vulnerable as a parent, saying like, hey, yes, I went through this. My friends hurt me too. My friends disappointed me too. This young man broke my heart. Yes, I did not get the job too that I applied for. Yes, I didn't get
so this is how to deal with it.
Yes, it's real. I went through it. It's easier for you to respond to this than me pretending that, hey, I never went through that. But I'm just
so transparency.
letting you believe that you can do it. You can always get it done.
Yes.
And you're like,
that's so important. You're right, because it just brought me to the thing where a lot of mothers and daughters, sons and fathers, children, even like those who might not have mothers and fathers but they have older siblings and stuff, we tend to hear a lot of don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, you shouldn't do this. But a lot of the reasons that some children or young people might not even listen because they can't connect. Why are you telling me not to do this? Why shouldn't I drink? Why should I be careful about that friend? Why shouldn't I do this? So I love how you're talking about transparency, because it's important that it's important that parents are not only giving commands and demands,
but being relational.
But yes, and being transparent and saying, I went through this. I had experiences with failed relationships.
And here is what it is.
Yes, and let's just be realistic. You look on social media, or you go to church or something, and you speak to someone, and who do you tend to feel more connected with? The people who you can relate to, the people who you said, oh, yeah, he has gone through this. I will feel connected to somebody who is a doctor, because I haven't gone through that yet, but they have gone through that path. Yes, I'm on that journey. So I'm more likely to trust a doctor because they've been through what I'm about to go through. Whereas me, yes, or what I'm going through. Whereas I'm listening to probably a lawyer who heard about it from a friend. I'm not saying I wouldn't listen to them, but I'm more likely to trust someone who has been through it. So it's important that parents or older siblings are more transparent and actually communicating and saying, I've been through this, and I've seen this before. I've had failed relationships. I've had failed friendship. I've failed classes. I've dropped out of school because of the same patterns that I'm seeing in you. So just be careful. And from there, when you give that advice, it's really up to us to go through.
And to just add to it, as a mom and also a daughter, I would say that it's not only to say I have been through it. Because I'm sure you hear that everywhere. I have been through it. I have been through it. But to be relational, to say, to give the should I say, the evidence. I was at school and okay, don't drink and drive. You should not drink and drive and all this and that. It's bad. Once a relational conversation would be, my friend, once we were going out and my friend drunk, or your dad drunk, or this driver was drinking and this happened. Actually talking about the moments and not just saying I've been there, because many persons can say I've been there, but you have no idea as
what
to
there looks like.
Yes. Yeah. So make it relational, make it real, make it practical. Talk about it, and this is where transparency comes in, where you say, I mean, you don't have to give every tiny detail, but let
them know.
Let us know how it felt, what brought you to that point. There is no shame in the game. Nothing is new under the sun. So we're talking about it. So I'm going to tell you, I had this friend and she did this to me. Well, she took my boyfriend. Yes, I was dating this guy and she went to him and she told him some bad things about me that was not so true and so good, and they started spending more time together. When I thought, it was the three of us going out together and having fun, they were actually building their own relation. Say something like that and saying, I once had someone who did it, and that's it.
And I right now I see that those patterns in your relationship. So I just want you to be careful, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah.
This also builds our relationship
Mm-hmm.
as a mother and a daughter, and not just mother-daughter relationship, with other persons in your life that you may trust, father
Yeah.
and son, friends,
Yeah, because your
aunts,
parents
and
might not have gone through everything,
exactly.
but your auntie might have, your uncle, your big sister, your big brother, a teacher, professor, a mentor, So it's really important to just be open to those advice from the olders. I'm not saying they're old,
Not
because your big
literally.
sister could be 2 years older than you and tell you about college or whatever, or give you college advice. But those who are older or more experienced, or they might be the same age as you, but they have just gone through that path and they're just giving you advice. I think it's important to be open to it. Now, there are some people out there who will be honest, that might not have your best interests at heart,
For real.
and the advice might do more harm. So I think that's where we I mean, I was about to say that's where we bring God into the equation, but God should have always been in the equation from the beginning, and it's important to even bring these things to him. So now he's using your parents, your big sister, your mentors to encourage you and help you and give you that advice. Okay.
Yeah. So you mentioned things that I would have said to you, certain things that I would have advice that I would have given to you, that you see in you, and you see the importance of it. I should also mention there are things that you do that have really um, struck me, and I might not have said so to you, but something that I see you do that I'm trying to imitate it a bit, is the time you take out for yourself.
Like self-care. Okay.
How intentional that you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I admire it of you.
Thank you.
You are very intentional in enjoying
Just
things.
the
And I
little
mean,
things and the
I
big
did not
things.
see it in me. And I always try to get you. I always know from a child.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe some people might think that you were just born that way. But no, I have helped develop you to enjoy every moment, make every moment
I'm also
beautiful.
I'm also very jolly person as well.
Make every moment beautiful for you.
Yes.
I've taught you to enjoy all the little things. And as much as you might have been a jolly person, because I was a jolly person too. People who knew me as a child would see that I was that way. But life can change you.
Yes. Yes.
Life can change
and the people
you.
around you.
Yeah, things that you go through can change you, and the devil can definitely steal your joy. But I was very intentionally not allowing I'm not trying to take the praise for myself, but I'm just trying to have our listeners know, and that you have to be intentional about everything. You would you would do the bare minimum, and I would applaud you on it. So much so that whatever you needed to do, you'd look for your cheerleader. And you have done so much that in return you became my cheerleader. You returned that to me, And I think as I'm saying it to you now, it's actually opening your eyes, because we may not have spoken about it that way before. But I would applaud you for everything that you did. No, every little thing that you did, I made it look so big. I awarded you for the minor things, even if the award was just basic things that you would have gotten anyway, like food. I awarded you with food because I wanted every
reward.
I rewarded you, sorry, with food, because I wanted every moment to be special. And you grew up making every moment a wow moment. Whereas those moments to me were like, Blair. But I raised you by rewarding you, by applauding you, by empowering you, by encouraging you, by teaching you that you can do anything, teaching you to believe in yourself, teaching you to be beautiful, teaching you that you are beautiful, and your beauty is not just on the outward. It's mostly on the
Thank you. Enough
inside.
about me. Enough about me.
Inside. No, that I'm just saying. I'll get to the point. You'll get it. So in me doing all of this, now I can sit back and learn from you. So when you take time to savor a little drink that I would just drink and be done with it, whatever. I learn from you, like, to enjoy the moment.
So what you
To smell the roses.
So what you're saying is, the big picture right here is that even with that, the whole advice giving and our parents pouring into us, it builds us, and it shapes us, and we're able to become people that our parents can also learn from. Well, not, and again, I'm being closed onto parents, but it's not only parents. It's just anybody who's just willing, anybody who has just been, what's the word?
Instrumental in your life.
Yeah, like there's another word, but like an inspiration. Yeah, anybody who has given you advice or who have cared about your well-being and stuff, they're pouring into you so that you may be able to reach your full potential. And when we get to that, I have not reached my full potential yet, but I'm moving down that road. And now that what she has poured into me, I'm able to pour right back into her. Yeah. So I think it's important. Yeah.
I mean, even just speaking about it, this is why I took a bit of time talking about it, because it became more real to me. The fact that even while we were discussing, the name for the podcast, and we were having all those discussions, and remember you said, like, what she taught me, it's not just about you learning from me as my daughter, but me learning from you
as my mother.
Yes. We learning from each other, and the things that you would have learned growing up, I'm learning from it too, because a lot of it is not you're not really things that I knew myself. It's just things that I wanted to do different. So I'm seeing the difference that I wanted to make. I'm seeing it in real time, and I am taking it for myself. So the time that I have left, I'm learning from you, because right now you're living in your time, in your generation. And I too am living in your generation with what I've learned from my time.
Yeah.
And you're teaching me, and we're learning from each other.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
Wow, that's powerful stuff. I've always looked at it from a surface level, just giving advice and, being able to use that advice at some point. But we're able to see that, those who have been pouring into us, giving us the ridiculous advice that we just were so annoyed at, but now we're able to use them. And not only are we able to use them for our own lives, but we're able to ignite something new within us that can also inspire them. Yes. So we just want to remind you guys that for anybody who's young and still figuring it out, listen to your parents. Sometimes it's hard because, sometimes you're stressed and you're just like, oh my goodness, they're talking too much. But, they've been there and they care about us. They see the patterns that we're too blinded, we're too in love, we're too maybe traumatized. We're too close-minded. We're not experienced. We're too innocent to see. So, be open to their opinion. And I know sometimes it's tough because some people come from households where, the way they give the advice may not always be the best. Sometimes it can be aggressive, but at times we have to kind of look back at the tones and the method of communication, because they're also dealing with their own issues that they are healing from, and that's their way. They're trying to love from that place, and that's how they're trying to do it. So it's important to still listen to that, but also to the parents watching out there, evaluate yourself. Think about what the trauma you've been through, and ask yourself, are you in a place of healing? Are you in a place of actually recognizing your own faults, that you're able to be the person that your child needs you to be, and then you're able to pour into them, not from a place of anger and bitterness and your own confusion, but a place of healing, and a place of being willing to learn and be better. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very important to note, you said a little about it, that we have not attained, meaning we have not gotten to that point.
Yes.
Like Paul says in the Bible, you're pressing on towards that mark.
It just says.
So we're on a journey, and we're all discovering new things day by day.
Yeah.
Some of us may be ahead, so we've passed certain stops, certain bridges, certain stones, certain hurdles that we can talk about it to those who are coming behind us. But none of us are at the point where we've attained. Okay, the only time that we can finally see that we have attained is when Jesus comes again, and when you die. This is when you've come to the end of your race. And when you're no more on this earth, there's no way that you can communicate to someone who's coming behind you.
Yes.
It's just that the life that you live
will have to be the story.
Yes, would be your legacy or whatever it is. So it's good to know that we're all on this journey together.
Yes.
And we have not attained, but we're attaining, we're persevering, we're pushing through, so we can continue, to learn from each other.
Yes. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was a great conversation. Even speaking right now, I learned something new, and I'm grateful for that. Let us know in the comments, what is something that your mom taught you, your dad taught you, your older sibling, anybody who, your guardian, whoever you've been around, your friends, something that seemed wild and was probably annoying from the jump, not at the jump, in the beginning it was annoying and wild, but then now that you have lived, or now that you're living, or now that you're in a certain season, it's saved you, it helped you. And it doesn't have to be something life changing or life altering. It could be simple things like kitchen tips that they've given you that have saved your meals, or cleaning tips that have helped your home, or even like vehicle tips that have helped your cars. A lot of people have not learned some of these trades and these things.
Tricks,
that really help. So we're never too young, never too old to learn. And I'm curious to know what you guys have learned from your guardian.
Like, things that may sound insignificant at the moment,
but it
you realize
its impact, yes,
that it becomes
so significant
in real time. So we are all on the path where we are learning, and as we said, it's what I'm learning from her, and what she's learning from me. Unfiltered conversation between a mom who has lived it and a daughter
who's still figuring it out,
and also a mom who's still figuring it out,
and a daughter who has lived a little something.
Yes. So see you in the next episode.
Don't forget to show your support, guys. Subscribe to our channel and follow us on our different platforms. We are extremely grateful that you tuned in today, and we hope that this conversation has ignited something in you. So again,
for me,
yes, and me too. So again, let us know in the comments something that someone told you and it was crazy, but they turned out to be right, because we want to hear from you. Okay? Bye.